Good evening.
Good evening.
It's great to be here.
Yes.
Are you happy to be here?
Yes.
So are you ready for fun today?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Please be seated. I must tell them to sit. All right. Yeah, I'm so used to people. The moment you come up, they all sit down already. All right. Are you ready to rise up as sons?
Yes.
Who are the sons? Okay. So what's so special about the sons? What's special about the sons? It's okay to talk to me, but don't ask questions. You can't ask questions. You can just all right? Because I'm a teacher, so I'm quite used to that. So, you have interaction kind of thing. It's okay, right? So today I'm going to talk to you about where we are in the timeline of God. All right? What do you think? Where are we in the timeline of God? Are we in end times? Yes. Uh-oh. That's so sad about the young people, right? They don't have much to live then because Jesus is going to come back. Isn't that disappointing? Okay, I've got good news for you. Jesus is not going to come back soon. There is a time that he's coming. We are in end times, okay? I'm not giving you any dates, okay? We are in end times, but there's something that needs to happen before Jesus comes back. Okay? And it has already started happening. Okay? Do you want to be a part of it?
Yes.
Okay. So, we are at a period of restoration. Okay? So, what is restoration? Where God is restoring people to be exactly the way he created man to be. God had an idea for man. God had a plan for man. And it did not get fulfilled with Adam. What happened to Adam? He fell. So that's why Yeshua, are you okay with Yeshua? Yeah, all right. So Yeshua had to come back. So because the first Adam fell, so Yeshua had to come back as the second Adam to restore back all the first Adam lost. Right? And so, as Yeshua has already restored it, he has restored it 2,000 years already. But are we walking like Adam today? Alright? So what happened? You are all familiar with the 1,000-year reign, right? The millennial reign? Yes? So who's going to be in charge of the cities during the 1,000-year reign? Yeah, we are called to be. But if the way we are right now, if God puts us in charge of cities, I think the angels in heaven will have a very big headache. You know why? Because people will be quarreling. Oh no, I can't get along with this person. I can't get along with them. Oh, look at it. Everybody will be complaining about each other. All right? So, none of us will be like the first Adam. All right? What was so special about the first Adam? He had a great relationship with God. He could talk to him directly. But Adam was actually a being of light. All right? So, what happened was, because of the fall, what happened to the light? That's where the light became blood. All right? And so that's why now we have blood. And this is where, when Yahweh walked on, and he saw that they had fallen, he put skin on their body, but it is not animal skin. This was the skin he put, the 7 layers of skin. He put it on Adam's body, and so what happened to the light? Because if you looked at Adam, the way God created Adam, because he was made in the image of God. All right? And so when you looked at Adam, the way he was created, he was a being of light. When you look at him, all you see was the light, because the light was on the outside. But because of his fall, what happened? The light went in, and that's what became blood. So today we are at a time where God is restoring back everything that Adam lost. Okay? But he's not doing it just only one thing, and he's not just restoring it right now, but he has started the restoration right from the very beginning, right from the time Jesus was crucified on the cross, the restoration has started. Okay, so we're going to look something at the timeline. This is today, I'm just sharing, but I'm going to also share some verses so you look at some of it. So over the timeline, when we look at it, because this is, you will understand why God cannot wait anymore. Okay? Because he's waiting for the sons to arise. Sons who are walking like Yeshua, who are talking like Yeshua, who are behaving like Yeshua. How many people are walking and behaving and talking like Yeshua right now do you know of? Anyone around you? Anybody walking through walls? Anybody walking on water? No. But there's coming a group of people who are going to walk on water. Yes. Would you want to be there? Yes. Walk through walls. Yes. Create. Yes. That means you go up to somebody who has no hand and immediately a hand starts growing. Yes. Wow, you want to be there? Yes. Ooh. And you don't have to touch anybody. You can walk anywhere in the marketplace. The moment you walk, people are healed by your shadow. Yes. When did that happen? Yeah, it happened during the time of the apostles. So when was that? Immediately after Yeshua was resurrected and he went back and these apostles started walking that way. Today, do you see anybody being healed by your shadow or not? What happened then? Where did it go? Alright? Won't it be nice? Won't it be good to see things like that happening? Yes. So you go to the Muslims, you're walking among the Muslims, and just your shadow will convict them of the truth. Yes. You don't even have to open your mouth to talk. Yes. But there's a secret. You want to know the secret? Yes. See, the apostles were walking that way. They were able to do many things. When they sang and they prayed, what happened? Prison doors opened. Yes? See, years ago, this was my question I asked God. Why is the church so powerless? Why is it my shadow not healing anybody? Yes? And I said, how come they can do it? How come I can't do it? And I'm not knowing anybody who can do the same thing. And I told God, I want that. Okay? Not just because the shadow here, but it'd be so nice because I'm from Malaysia and we stay in a Muslim nation and we cannot share the gospel to the Muslims. If you ever share gospel to the Muslims, you'll be thrown into prison. Or you will be just eliminated. Alright? So, we are really at a place where we need that. Where by our being, people around us are convicted of the truth. And they will be transformed. So, and the other thing I asked the Lord, this is way back, is why isn't the church a family? You're an ecclesia, so I think there's nobody fighting here. All of you are great people, getting along very well. But in the majority of the Christian world, there's a lot of arguments, not about the unbelievers, but among the Christians. Okay? So this was my question. If really you are our Father, everyone as a child of God is my brother and my sister. Aren't we a family? Yes. Why are we not a family? And I told God, I want that. There was also another one that I asked, but this was two of my main. I just asked God that, and that was the desire of my heart. But I did not see anybody walking along the way, that way, that I could ask, hey, what's your secret? I so want that. I was not seeing anybody walking like that. So I just shelved it aside until a few years ago when I started learning about what God is doing right now in the world today. So it's not something that's happening just in one nation, but this, as the sons of God are arising, is happening in every nation around the world. Okay? So you want to be a part of that kingdom?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Personally, I'm involved with a number of countries and I'm already seeing people walking that way. So over the years, so for 300 years, there was no Bible, but yet the apostles, when they walked, there were so many things that were happening. Do you know that they could not kill the apostles? Yes? Because of who they were. Even if they put them in boiling oil, what happened? They took them out. They did not die. Okay? So many of them, all the 12 of them, that's how they live. And finally, unless they really had to die, they wanted to die. And then that's when they met their end. But after that, there were many years, nothing was happening. There were little pockets of people who were actually walking like the apostles. But since the 1500, with Martin Luther and everything, when the Reformation came in, and Martin Luther was the one who talked about salvation by faith. So this is where Martin Luther came out and said, no, salvation is by faith. So it moved on. So after salvation came by faith, then you have the Baptist people coming and say, oh, you need to be baptized in water. After they came, then you have the Pentecostals coming in. All right? Very much later. So a lot of things were happening. God was doing a restoration of the way He wanted things to be. So in 1904, 1906, this is where we had the Azusa Street revival. And what happened? People started being baptized with the Holy Spirit, and more people became baptized in the Holy Spirit. Okay? So the baptism of the Holy Spirit, which started with the book of Acts, after some time, there were people, but it wasn't many of them. But if you read the book of Acts, everyone they laid hands, what happened? They were all filled with the Spirit, and then they were baptized. So things were lost. So that's why today God is restoring. He's restoring everything that was lost. Then He started restoring the evangelists. So that's why in the 19th century, you started seeing all these big-time evangelists coming up. In the 50s, you have all these people, Smith Wigglesworth, Oral Roberts, John G. Lake, all these people, evangelists. Then because there were evangelists, then you have pastors. Then because because people were coming in, and then you have the pastors, and then you have the teachers. So this is where you hear of big, teachers like Derek Prince, Kenneth Hagin. Have you heard all those names? Yes. So, and after that, he started restoring the prophets. So what was God restoring? He was restoring the fivefold ministries. Because what was the job of the fivefold ministries? To equip the saints. Okay? So the evangelists were supposed to go out to bring the people, and the pastors were supposed to teach them. And then in every church, in fact, every church was supposed to have a fivefold minister. That means there will be a pastor, there will be a teacher, an evangelist, there will be actually a prophet and an apostle. So every church had that. So God started also restoring the prophets. Okay, so it was around the 80s, you started to see a lot of prophets being, but this was what the older ones will understand, that this was what God was restoring. Okay, He restored the prophets, and then He started restoring the apostles. So, as God restored, then He started restoring people to go back to their Hebraic faith. But some of it is not like this stopped, then this happened. Some of it was this was happening and this was happening. They were also happening concurrently, that together they were all happening, right? And so God restored the Hebraic movement, because in the Hebraic movement, people started to pick up what was good about Judaism, or what was good in the Old Testament, what was God teaching the Jews. So this is where we have the restoration of the feast. Do you know the feast, the 7 feasts? The feast of Passover, yeah, tabernacles, trumpets, first fruits. Yes. So God was already restoring all these, because one thing you need to understand, the feasts are a picture of God's timeline, of what's going to happen. All right. So the 7 feasts actually give a picture of it. So right now we are in which feast? Or coming in? Feast of Trumpets. Purim, but Purim is not one of the 7. There are 9 actually, but Purim is still. There's a reason about Purim. Purim is about the story of Esther. Okay, and then towards the end we will have Hanukkah, which is the story about the oil that never diminished. Okay, and so God was restoring the feast, because the feasts are God's appointed time. We do not have to do what the Jews were doing earlier. Exactly, you don't need to, when the Jews do the Passover, they have a plate with the meat and the bitter herbs and all that. We don't have to do that, but we need to remember what Passover meant and walk in the significance of it. Even in tabernacles, we don't really have to build a sukkot and do all those things, but we need to understand the significance of it, because the time of the feast is God's appointed time, which is called Moed. Okay? That's God's appointed time. So God was restoring all these. Then you started seeing a lot of people getting used to studying Hebrew. Okay? Because Hebrew, the Hebrew letters are actually living beings themselves. Anybody familiar with the Hebrew letters? And soon you'll get familiar. Alright? So the Hebrew letters are living beings themselves, because God created the world with these Hebrew letters. Alright? Because God needed a language before he could say, let there be light. So what language did God use to create the earth? He used Hebrew. So he created language first. He created the alphabet, Gimel and all that. He created the 22 letters before he could actually start creation. Okay? So all these came, and then we started seeing a lot about the gold dust, the gems, the feathers. So what was God doing with that? He was letting us know that he is a supernatural God. He is a God of power, of glory. So all that is happening. So when things like this happen, we don't camp there. Because God was restoring everything that was lost. He was restoring. Alright? So we have now come, there's still a few more things, but we have now come to the point where God is restoring sonship. Okay? So what is sonship? Sonship is exactly like the way he created man, Adam, but even more than that. Because these people who rise up as sons are the ones who are going to be put in charge of cities during the millennial years. Okay? The sons are the ones who are going to terraform the earth. God is not going to come down from heaven and change things. He has you.
Yes.
So why must he come down?
Yes.
You are his hands.
Yes.
You are his feet.
Yes.
All right? You are his mouth. Okay? So God needs you very badly. But the way we are right now, he can't use us so much, because our mouth is not creating what is positive. But do you know, I'm not going to die.
Yes.
I'm going to live forever and ever and ever and ever. And even right now, I'm going to live in divine health. Okay? My organs are as young as when I was 20 years old. Okay? Everything about me is young. Okay? I think you all are used to that. Not many people are used to that. So I know I'm not going to die. And this is what I say. I'm not going to die. And so when I say I'm not going to die, I'm definitely not going to die. Because the whole of creation hears me say that I'm not going to die. So they say, no, this one leave alone. Okay? And so, this is what is happening because our mouth and the words that are coming out of our mouth is not really the words that will change things. Do you know that you can create with your words? Yes? Because life and death are power of the tongue. Alright? So, whatever I say is going to happen. Alright? So as we say what is positive, that will definitely happen. But when you say something that's negative, something also happens. You know what happens when you say something negative? You are feeding demons. Oh dear. How many demons have you fed so far? That they have become fat. Alright? Because the darkness, I don't like using the word demons, but I just had to say that. But normally I use the word the darkness. Okay? Because in my world there are no demons. Okay? And this is what I believe. So because I believe there are no demons will come near me. Alright? If you believe they're going to disturb you under every chair, under every tree, then definitely here they're calling me now. So the darkness starts coming. Alright? So this is what it is. Because we have not dealt with a lot of our behavior, and so that's why God can't use us the way we are right now. You are still doing work, you can still do it. But God is looking for people who look exactly like Him. Not in form, but in being. Because God is love. So if He is love, who should you be? Love. Are we really loving people unconditionally? So it's time we change. It's time we change and we start walking that way, because the ones who are walking the way God wants to do are the ones God is going to take them to a greater glory. Okay, I can tell you good news. Nobody has come to that level yet. There are a few people. Even those few people are walking even less than 10% of what we are supposed to be walking as a son. Alright? So you're not very far behind. You can catch up or you can overshoot them. Okay? Right. So it starts with what's in your heart, because God gives you the desires of your heart. How many of you want to be a son, a manifesting son? Alright? So this is where we look at it. Let's look at Romans 8. How many of you can tell me straight away what is Romans 8? 17, 18, 19? Yes. So for in chapter 8, there's actually a lot of it. 8:19. For the anxious longing of the creations waits eagerly for the manifestation of the sons of God. So they are waiting for you. If we say we have arrived, that means it's not true yet. Because creation is waiting. So why is creation waiting? So you look at verse 20. What does it say? For the creation was subjected to futility, not of its own will, but because of Him who subjected it in hope. And in verse 21 it says that the creation itself also will be set free from its slavery to corruption into the freedom of the glory of the children of God. So, see, what happened when man fell? Creation did not fall. The trees and the plants, the animals and all did not fall. But because man fell, God could not allow creation to be at the level it was. Alright? So God subjected it to futility. That means it got it suppressed. But now, what creation is doing is, we want to be there where God created us to be. But they can't do it. Because man has not come to be a manifesting son. So that's why creation is groaning for the manifestation of sons of God. So this is where we are right now, where we want to be the manifesting sons. So what is the meaning of sons of God and the manifesting sons? We are all sons, all right? Because when you came into salvation, you are a son of God. But you are not yet a manifesting son, because a manifesting son is someone who is walking like Yeshua, talking like him, behaving like him, loving like him, showing mercy like him, showing compassion like him. All right? So we are called to be like Jesus. Can you imagine if there were 100 of you here exactly like Jesus? What will happen to Hyderabad? So when your temperatures go up, you as a son, what can you do? Speak to the temperatures to come down, because that's part of creation. And you can tell the temperature to come up because you are a son. Okay? And there's so many things that we are called to do. You are called to create a new heavens and a new earth. God is not going to come and ask his angel, because he has finished it. So in Genesis, it said that God created the world, and all the things that are going to be created, he already stopped creating already. Okay? Everything. Okay, there's such a thing called event horizon, where you are at the edge of divine consciousness. Right? And there's a place where God has all the things that are going to be created is there in seed form. If you know how to take it, you will see it being manifested here. But you need the manifesting sons to take it. Because God is not going to give it to everybody. Because if God gives it to everybody, what will happen? People will start controlling people. But the moment we walk like Jesus and talk like Jesus, then what happens? God will show us how to take the seed and create. You can create trees. You can create grass and plants. You can change the rivers. If the river is very dirty, do you have dirty rivers here?
Yes.
You go and speak to the river. And you know what happens to the river? Yeah? It will be clear water running through. People have started doing this. Okay? And if you see, a land where the grass is not growing properly, and you see a lot of tall weeds and all that, you start speaking to the land. You know what happens to the land? It will become fertile land. Yes? Do you know in heaven, the apples can talk to you? The apples or orange or the fruits, they are all hanging there and says, eat me. The moment you eat the apple, it actually becomes back to the apple again. You can eat it and leave it there. And then come back the next time and go and eat again. So, earth is going to be exactly like heaven. Because today, we can step into heaven. Personally, I've been to heaven many times. And I've seen a lot of things. Right? So, I don't need to die to go to heaven. Yes. I can go to heaven every day. Yes. So, why do I bother about the rapture? I'm raptured every day. Alright? So, God is doing a great work right now, all over the world. So, as sons, we are called to shift things. And this is happening all over the world. There are certain places where there are earthquakes. Alright? Some of it because it has been there, but you can dictate to the earthquake and say, you will never go beyond 4 on the Richter scale. All right? That's what God has given us. We have the power to do all these things. But why are we not doing it? We are so comfortable being the way we are. But now as you learn, this is what God is doing, because He is restoring the sonship that was lost by Adam. Because Adam could actually create. Actually, Adam was the one who created the animals. Sorry to mess up your Sunday school stories. God did not create the animals and bring to Him. God created the animals in seed form. Okay, you know what is seed? Yes. That means the essence of it. That means it is in really concentrated form. You know, the seed. So this is why you hear me use the word seed, because God did everything in seed form. Okay, so Adam was the one who spoke lion, and this seed became lion. He was the one. That's why I say when He gave the names, that's where they took the forms. You want to do that? Yes. Shall we do dinosaurs now? Can. We can do anything. And God is giving us that ability. All you need to do is to believe. Okay? Believe and be the vessel that can carry God. Because, can you imagine if you're doing all these, you can do all these things, but people look at your life and say, it's not coinciding. Right? So before we can do all these things, God is actually preparing us to be a vessel that can contain Him. Alright? A vessel that has dealt with all these baggages. Alright? You can't be creating things when you're carrying offenses inside. You can't be creating things when you're carrying unforgiveness, when you're carrying bitterness inside of you. Anyway, when you carry unforgiveness and bitterness, what happens to the organs of your body? They start deteriorating. Yeah? So unforgiveness, it is said that unforgiveness is like you drinking poison but expecting the other person to die. Alright? Because people can do things which are not right to you. So you don't want to forgive them. They don't care. But you are holding on to it. So it's like you are drinking poison, but you're expecting that person to die. That person is not going to die. Who's going to die? You're the one who's going to die. So think of this. Unforgiveness, bitterness is like poison you take yourself. Any of you will take poison naturally or not? You won't take poison naturally. But why is it we allow our body to carry unforgiveness and offenses and all that? So these are things as we deal with it ourselves. God will give you greater revelation on walking the way He wants you to walk. So today, when I say God is restoring sonship, where are we in the timeline of God? He is restoring sonship. Okay? And the fivefold, the pastors, the teachers, evangelists, the apostles and prophets, we don't need them anymore. You don't need your pastor anymore. Sorry to say. Okay? Because you are going to be a son. And as you are son, you are the prophet, you are the priest, and you are also the king. Okay? Right? But I think your pastor is very good. He has already let y'all say, don't give me work to do, y'all do the work. Yes? So which means you are in good hands, because you know what it means to be the ecclesia. So you know what is ecclesia? You are the government over Hyderabad. So which means anything that happens in Hyderabad should not happen without your permission. Are you sure it's happening right now? So you are the actual government. You decide what are the laws that are going to be. Actually, by right, it's where you are right now. But because there are no ecclesias that have come out, So you have a greater territory to rule. Okay? But as more ecclesias come out, then you are in charge of whatever happens in this area. So if there's another ecclesia maybe 2 kilometers away, they are in charge of whatever happens under their jurisdiction. Okay? So, by right, if you are an ecclesia, I know what's an ecclesia because I'm also an ecclesia. My church is also an ecclesia. Alright? And so, by right, if there was a murder in that place, you as an ecclesia need to go and redeem the land. Because the blood has been shed in that place. Alright? If you understand about blood, when blood is shed in a place, it will, because it's like a sacrifice has been done. And this sacrifice will actually speak, asking for more sacrifices. So that's why you understand, you know those roads and highways where accidents happen and people have died? What happens there? More accidents happen. Because that blood is there and it's calling for more blood. So as an ecclesia, once you know there's a debt there, you need to do what? Go and redeem the land. Bring it and restore it back to the way God created it. And when you do that, you will find the accidents in that place will stop. Alright? It's actually very powerful. You know, when you really understand what is ecclesia. That's what God said, ecclesia. He did not say, build my church. Okay? The actual word was ecclesia because you are called to be the government. So you are actually looking at whatever is happening in your area. If there's a law that comes that is not good, you say, no, this is not going to happen. Not under my watch. And you speak and you change it. You sit over the heavenly realms. So in every city, if every church becomes an ecclesia, you know what happens? You are the spiritual government over that place. You want great authority? Prepare yourself as a vessel who can contain God. The more you empty of yourself, that means all your ego and your pride and all that, this is where God fills you up with Himself, and this is where you have the greatest authority. Even when the darkness, you see, the spiritual realms know who has authority and who doesn't have authority. They know by the words you speak. Okay? So, like for some people who are walking in authority, the spiritual realms, the darkness especially, will say, this one, don't touch. She knows her authority. But the people who don't know their authority, they will go and disturb them. They will go and put thoughts into their minds, you know, and say, she doesn't know who she is. Okay? So this is what happens. So you need to know who you are as a son. What you can do as a son, because we are exactly in the timeline where God is restoring the sons. And the ones who are rising up. And so God is going to test you. He's going to give you challenges. Because how would you know somebody is good or not good? Okay? It's only through challenges, through their trials, will you know what they are made of. I mean, in the natural, they say, yeah, I know what you're made of. Are you a tough cookie that can take all the challenges? Or the moment something difficult comes, are you going to cry and complain and grumble about it? Okay, God doesn't want the grumblers and the complainers. All right? He wants people, no matter what the challenges are, you will take it and say, I will do it. Okay? In Habakkuk 3:17, what does it say? Though the fig tree does not blossom and there be no fruit on the vine, but yet will I'm simplifying, yet will I rejoice in the Lord. So even though there are challenges, because God wants to see what you can do. God doesn't want to spoon feed anybody. Alright? Enough of the spoon feeding. He has given you all that you need. He has given you all the tools to take you where you should be. He's not going to come down and say, come, do this now. Of course, he can give you, he can speak to you, telling you what to do next, what to do next. This is about resting the Lord. And he can tell you all those things. All right? But he has given you all the tools. So the people who are rising up as sons and who are responsible, because first, you need to have a relationship with God that is so close, then you become responsible. God can trust you. This one I know. I mean, some of you, you are work as managers or team leaders. To whom will you give the most difficult job? The one who is capable. The one who is, maybe some people are capable, but there are some people you'll never put them in charge of finance. Because it'll all go haywire. Okay? So just like you know who to put in charge of finance, who to put in charge of projects, who to give, events that are coming, who to give, you know how to do it. Don't you think God knows even better than you? Yes. So God looks at each one of us. And right now, we are actually at a period where God is testing all of us. He's looking for the man or woman who is after his own heart. So as you know, sons refer to both what? Male and female. Why is it both male and female? There's no gender, right? There's no gender. In God, God doesn't say this is a male child or female. He knows, but when we are with him, there's actually no gender. But no, you are a female and you are a male. See, even in the animal kingdom, they know it has to be male and female. Why is it as humans we don't know it needs to be male and female? Alright? Because it's a twist of what is of God and getting people confused. So as people get confused, then this is what happens. So do you know you can stop all this? You know how to stop? You are the Ekklesia, and even as a son, you can stop all that. Yes. All right? But you need to know how to do it. Right? But first, you need to be a son. All right? Sonship. So, God is restoring sonship. And so, that doesn't mean, because I know somewhere, I actually said God is, it's over. The fivefold is actually over. So, a lot of pastors got worried. Then I got no job, is it? So I said, never mind. No. You still got a job, because some of the new ones who come in, they need the pastors. So you will still be for those people there, but the majority of them are going to rise up to be sons, because you are going to be the prophet, priest, and king. So this is all part of the four faces of God, of the lion, the ox, the eagle, and the man. The lion is the king. The ox is the priest. The eagle is the prophet. And the man, he embodies all three. Okay, that's why there's a man there. Okay, so God is waiting for the sons to arise. Creation is waiting for the sons. I know of a friend of mine, when they went to New Zealand, they wanted to go to this place where there are Freemasons. Do you understand who are Freemasons? It's not just a cult. It's much deeper than just a normal cult. They are actually into a lot of blood sacrifices and all those stuff. So they wanted to go and redeem the land, because these Freemasons have a place where they meet, and it's called the Lodge. So they just wanted to go and they were just like passing through, they just wanted to see the place. But as they went into the place, they did not plan on doing anything. They just went to see the place. And there was this tree there, which was really dying. And this tree actually spoke to this friend of mine and said, have you come to redeem me? All right? See, can you imagine? The tree is crying to be redeemed. And as this tree cried out, have you come to redeem me? He didn't plan on praying or anything, But because the tree was crying out to him, he just lifted his high hand and he, and spoke for it to come alive. A few months later, when they went back to that same place, this tree was so luxuriant and it all had its leaves and, and it was fruiting. That's the power you have. Isn't it exciting?
Yes.
Yes. How shall we do it then? How shall we do it? How shall we rise up as son? It's a journey, okay? It's not something that you say, today I am a son, and tomorrow you are going, manifesting son. I have to, say the proper term. You are sons, but I'm talking about manifesting sons. So a manifesting son is someone who is a true vessel for God. And as he is a true vessel, God pours out more and more into that person. And you terraform. This is a word that we use. Terraform the world. You change the world. Everywhere that is not fertile, the land becomes fertile. All right? Because this is how we are going to live. Now, where are we going to live during the 1,000-year reign? Yeah, it's going to be on earth. So if it's like this, how are we going to live? I don't know whether got condos then or not. Right? But we are all, you can't be going to condos and doing your own stuff. Okay? This is where we are going to be. God is not going to change the earth. You are going to start speaking. Alright? And as you start speaking, things are going to shift and change. Alright? And all over the world. It's happening all over the world. Because all of you carry something that's so important. Because now, you are a child of Yahweh. You are a child of God. You are a child of Yahweh. So whose DNA do you carry? You carry his DNA. You are no longer a human being. Because you are a child of the living God. Yes? And so because you are a child, what is inside of you? You have the divine nature of God. God's DNA in you. So you can walk like that. Alright? So the secret of why the apostles could walk and people around them was healed is because of what they were carrying inside of them. The frequency and vibration. Because they were so close with God. They had a great relationship with God that their whole being changed. Their whole being is love. Alright? Today we like as I said, in Malaysia we can't do that because of, of religion practices. So what we are doing right now in Malaysia is, as the spiritual government, we are breaking down the apostasy laws. In the spiritual realms, we are breaking the apostasy laws. And in time to come, the constitution is going to be changed. So as the spiritual government, and we release it, who is more powerful, the spiritual government or the earthly government? The spiritual government is very powerful. Alright? So as we release these things, but you cannot do it one time. You have to continually do it. Alright? So as you continually do it, then this is where the land changes. You see, when you are successful, let me tell you, a lot of people are going to look at you. Alright? So we need to get rid of this mentality that Christians need to be poor, drive a small car, and all that. Who said so? When you have a rich God, the God who owns all the silver and all the gold on earth, why should you be poor? This is not about prosperity. It is your right. Just take what God has for you. And as you take what God has for you, you will see your life keep changing. It is all there. You know why? Just get an idea from God. An idea that nobody else has. Isn't our God a creative God?
Yes.
Alright? Why must you do something other people are doing? Okay? God knows what are the needs in this nation or even in the world. You see, for too long, we as Christians have been consumers. You know what are consumers? Somebody is selling things, all we do is buy it. So who's becoming rich? The person who is selling it. But he also got the idea from somewhere. Why can't it be you? Why can't it be us Christians? You know? But we have a God who created the earth, the universe, the planets, and everything. Can't he give us a creative idea? He can. But why are we not walking in it? Why are we not walking in it? Because we didn't ask. We are so happy going to the shop, paying money, and buying things. We need to get out of that mentality. We need to be business owners. We need to be manufacturers. We need to be in charge. We should be above the community where we are. Because you are the ecclesia. You are the spiritual government. How can the spiritual government be downtrodden? Alright? God has given you everything, but because we don't ask. And God, you see, to know, this is something we need to get out of it. Because over the years, we have been taught that we need to know the will of God. Alright? So what do you think is the will of God? What is the will of God? Would God ever will you to be poor? To have no finances? No. What would be the will of God? Yes, to be fruitful. Yeah, Pastor was saying, that's my mantra too. Does it sound like a broken record? Be fruitful, multiply, some more? Yes, you're all very good. My church is also, they know how all this, because I keep talking about it all the time. So, ask the Lord for creative ideas. There is so much more that needs to be done in this world. Alright? We should all rise up as business owners, as manufacturers. Alright? Even if you don't do it, but you know, a group of you can rise up and do it together. Alright? Yeah, you can have your own people, the managers, project managers, supervisors, financiers, accountants, everything. In fact, I believe the church, I say this, church should go into business. You have all the resources, you have the best people. Okay? So why can't we manufacture something? Something that is of need. Alright? So, this is where God is taking us. And I've been to so many countries and I see the same thing. People's lives are being changed. We have not really reached the point to be exactly like Jesus and all that, but we are on that journey. All right? How do you do a journey of 1,000 miles? You have to take one step at a time. But if you don't take the one step, oh, I want to go 1,000 miles, you're not going to go anywhere. You have to take the first step. And as you take the first step, then God will show you the second step. Now, I've been in business. I had 2 businesses actually. God never gives you the whole picture. First, He puts within you the challenge. I remember the first time the Lord told me to asked me to do this. Not asked me, told me to do it. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I had a lot of excuses. Finally, the Lord said, take up the challenge I put before you. And He stopped talking. You know, God is like that. When you don't listen to Him, He stops talking. All right? Until you listen. All right? Yeah. I've seen that so many times. Because He's like, you can't go back to Him because, you see, I've already told you what to do. All right? So when are you going to do it? And I found He did not give me the full picture. He gave me enough to take me for 6 months. You know? And I could see what I need to do. And as I came to the 3rd month, then He started giving me more on what is going to happen next. Then as I came more, so after that, I could see what is going to happen after a year. You know? He starts giving you. God does not give you the full picture. Sometimes we want to know everything. Then only I will do it. But God is not like that, because He wants to know if you are obedient. Are you going to follow what He says? So, are you going to be a good steward? Okay? And when He sees you are a good steward, He will actually show you more things. You know, as Christians, we have a very great advantage. Do you know what's an advantage? We have God of the universe on our side.
Yes.
The unbelievers don't have that.
Yes.
We have God of the universe, and we are not taking advantage of Him. God doesn't mind if you take advantage of Him.
Yeah.
All right? He's not going to scold you. You are taking advantage. People will scold you if you take advantage of them. God will not scold you if you take advantage of Him. Yes?
Yes.
So can you please take advantage of God?
Yes.
All right? He's waiting for you to take advantage. You know, God is waiting to give you all these ideas. What you should do. What can happen. Everything. He's just waiting. But because there are no takers, so what happens? The unbelievers are getting all of it. Because you need to understand that God works by principles of the universe. There are certain principles of the universe that God follows. So if the unbeliever follow those principles, they will be prosperous. I'm so longing and you know, with expectation. I have so much of expectation when I see what God has in store for us. You know, when you have expectation, what is expectation? It is hope. All right? And faith. What is hope? Faith. What is faith? It is actually hope, the substance of things hoped for. Okay? So, when you have this expectation, God will give you that expectation. You don't have anything of God. Yeah, every day I go to work, come back, eat, sleep, then tomorrow go to work again. But when you have an expectation, when you have a hope, that's when God gives you the faith, you know, and you are able to move on and on. I'm so glad to be here in Hyderabad. I thank God for meeting up with Pastor Prem. And I truly want to be a part of your kingdom here, a part of your ecclesia, to rise up as sons. So I was actually saying that we are coming to a time where we can actually move and go to every nation and be one team. I just finished a conference in Malaysia just a week ago. And actually in my team, part of my team, the one to sweep the floor or to take care of things, was actually a Singaporean. You know? So this is where we are. We are really international because we are part of the big kingdom family. The kingdom of God. See, what I asked God, why isn't the church a family? And today I see my answers. Because through sonship, we become one big family. Not just only among the church members, but we are one family, even though we are of different cultures. Even though we are of different skin or whatever it is, but we come from the same God. Isn't it?
Yes.
God who created us, the God who is watching over us, the God who loves us. He loves all of us exactly the same way. Amen? You need to get this in your head, that I am rising up to be the son that all creation is crying. When, hey man, get your act together. We are waiting because they need to be redeemed. Okay? So thank you so much. Thank you, Pastor. Father, I just thank you for this time that we have gathered here together, oh Father. Even as we come together as an ecclesia, oh God. And as we are understanding more and more what it is to be an ecclesia, let us remind ourselves that we are the spiritual government, oh God. You have put us as watchmen over this city right now, Lord. And so, Father, they are in a good place right now, Lord. They are where you want them to be. But right now, Father, I just release them to greater revelation on who you want them to be. I speak right now that each one will have a hunger and an urge and will thirst to be a son, oh God. Because truly you are a God who is restoring sonship, oh God. We just thank you that it's my heart's desire to see everyone. It's God's heart desire to see every one of you rise up to be a son exactly like Yeshua. I want to bless you all with all the blessings that God has provided for us. I want to give you the inheritance that God has already started and provided for each one of us. Father, I just thank you for each one. Father, I release angels into their lives right now, oh God. That, Father, I activate their angels right now, Lord. Father, that they will know what they need to do, oh God. I speak shalom into their lives. I speak peace into their lives. I speak joy. I speak mercy. I speak strength, oh God. That they will rise up from where they are to be giants for you. Amen. Thank you in Yeshua's name.